As you defeat Stormtroopers, Raiders, creatures, and Battle Droids in Jedi Survivor, you'll earn skill points, which you can spend to unlock new abilities for Cal. But you're presented with so many options from the start, and you unlock more and more options as you go. It can be hard to know where to focus your skill points. Don't worry, we're here with the best skills to unlock first in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We've put our heads together to come up with some surefire picks to choose if you need help starting out, as well as the best picks for each lightsaber stance once you have them all unlocked. Before we get started, keep in mind that if you see something in this video that you want to get immediately, or if you've made a choice that you regret, you can reset all of your skill point choices for free once by pressing triangle or Y in the skills menu, allowing you to respec however you'd like. You can do this multiple times after, but it will cost you skill points each time, so only do this thoughtfully and with intention. We'll show you each ability that we discuss here today, but if you're ever unsure of what an ability does when you're in the skills menu, press square or X while hovering over it to see a video of each ability in action. With that out of the way, let's get into it. In Jedi Survivor, it doesn't take much to become entirely overwhelmed, so we recommend getting the improved Stim formula skill first, unless you're not dying too often. This skill improves the amount that you are healed by BD1 when you use a Stim, which is a great boost to your survivability. You need to buy survival skills for 1 point first, before the Stim formula, but there's no downside to having more health. The subsequent perfected Stim formula and teamwork skills are also great, but you may want to improve your lightsaber and force abilities next before you invest further into your health. Wrenching Pull is a great AoE pull attack, good for grouping up nearby weaker enemies so that you can easily take them all down with a single twirling attack from your double-bladed lightsaber, or a push attack. It's also the first skill to unlock in the telekinesis skill tree, which means it's cheap and also a requirement for future telekinesis skill purchases too. It can be helpful to get a feel for the strengths and weaknesses of each lightsaber stance, as they are all good in different circumstances. Each skill tree begins with a skill that costs 1 point, so before deciding that a stance is not for you, purchase each stance's first skill and use it a bit to get a feel for what makes each stance unique. These skills are called Lunging Strike, Gathering Tempest, and Backstep Slash. Once you reach Kobo, you'll start to encounter various battle droids, including these B2s. They're pretty resilient, and they can put a lot of blaster bolts down range, so having some enhanced blaster reflection abilities can be a real bonus. Twofold reflection is very cheap at 1 skill point, so grab this early if you're using the single blade stance to send back 2 bolts with 1 block. You can also improve your reflections when using the dual blade stance by purchasing the split reflection skill for 2 points, which lets you split 1 blaster bolt into 2. The double blade stance has the best reflection ability with multifold reflections, but this is decidedly more expensive at a total of 4 points, so just keep this in mind for later unless blaster bolts are really annoying you. One of Cal's easiest skills to underrate is his Confuse ability. Not only does this skill temporarily remove one adversary for you to worry about, but adding a distraction for the other enemies can instantly turn the tide of a fight, especially in a big crowd. As far as skills go, Greater Confusion lets you confuse a second enemy at once, which can make an impossible fight a complete walk in the park.
We'll fight together.
You need to buy Addled Mind first, which increases the duration of time that enemies are confused for, but the 2 skills together only cost 2 points, so it's a cheap and easy way to get ahead in a fight. This enhanced Force Push is a bit more expensive, but upgrading your Force Push can be useful in so many different combat scenarios. Howling Push allows you to push larger groups of enemies, as well as enemies that would normally be resistant to your push attacks. This is great for taking out entire groups of B1 droids, knocking multiple Stormtroopers off of an edge, or even pushing large creatures over to stun them. Now, we've stayed mostly clear of lightsaber stance upgrades so far, and that's because many players will have different preferences when it comes to which stances they like to use and which they don't. With that in mind, we're going to show you our recommended first upgrades for each stance, so that you have a path forward no matter which one you choose. The single blade stance is an excellent generalist stance, neither excelling in any one area or being overly weak. With this in mind, the single-bladed skill tree is interesting because it allows you to tailor the stance in a variety of ways. After buying Lunging Strike, which you have to do on Coruscant, and Twofold Reflection, we recommend buying Cyclone Slash to give your standard attack a more powerful finishing move. This will let you break an opponent's guard more easily than just attacking relentlessly would allow for. After this, we recommend trying to unlock the Dash Strike so that you can quickly dash forward and into melee range. This will require you to buy Aerial Assault, but this is good to have to allow for more vertical attack options. The double blade stance is fast and allows you to attack multiple targets nearby at reduced damage. To start, buy the initial Gathering Tempest ability before buying the Vortex Dive, which allows you to move closer to your enemies while attacking, much like the Dash Strike. Next, buy Endless Hurricane. This extends your standard attack combo, but what we really want is the multi-fold reflection skill that we mentioned earlier. This reflection skill lets you send back many blaster shots at different targets, which makes it perfect for any time you see these heavy assault troopers or you come across a large group of blaster-wielding foes. So long as your block meter holds out, you can keep sending their bolts back at them until there's no one left standing. The dual blade stance has the shortest attack range, but it has a couple of unique attributes too. While using this stance, you take a bit more damage with each hit that you take, but Cal also has the ability to block at any time to cancel his attack animations. This can let you get out of some really tough situations if you're prone to overcommitting with your attacks. With that in mind, we're going to focus on addressing the short range of this stance first. If you bought the Split Reflection skill that we mentioned before, then you can immediately buy the Twin Vipers ability so that you can throw both of your sabers at once. This lets you deal significant damage to a single foe while you keep your distance. Then, to enhance this stance's ability to dish out multiple powerful attacks very quickly, purchase Uncoiled Strikes, which allows you to absolutely overwhelm single targets with a rapid flurry of strikes. Okay, we're going to start talking about the new stances that you unlock further into the game. So, if you don't want to have those spoiled, come back to this video once you've unlocked them. The Blaster Stance is one of two new stances, and it has Cal wielding his saber in one hand like a rapier-style sword, while he holds a blaster in his other. This stance understandably has the highest range, but that also remains true of the blade attacks, because the blade attacks focus on getting you closer to targets so that you can recharge your blaster shots. Buy Flying Lunge to start with, which enables you to step closer to your enemy with one attack. Then, buy Blaster Cooldown in order to unlock the improved clip skill. All of these cost 1 point each, so this is a cheap upgrade path that rewards you with a much larger blaster magazine. Then, to put a bit of Bloodborne in your Star Wars, buy Efficient Heat Transfer before buying Point Blank, which lets Cal counter incoming attacks with a quick draw blaster shot that will send the opponent flying. The Kylo Ren's style Crossguard Stance is the other new stance in Jedi Survivor, and it packs a punch. This stance makes your blade longer and Cal's attacks heavier, meaning that while you'll be quite slow, the attacks that hit will be devastating. Rending Strike starts this skill tree off, and it's a great attack to use against enemies that have dropped their guard, as it can often one-shot them. Next, we suggest you buy Impact, a jumping ground pound attack that sends a shockwave along the ground. This is one of the stance's faster attacks, and it has excellent range that you can improve with the next skill in the chain if you choose to. On the right side of the skill tree, you can buy these one-cost skills, Greater Cleaving Swing and Reaching Cleave. These both improve your standard Y or triangle cleave attack by making it much faster to execute and introducing a rush forward with it as well. Much like the rending strike attack, this cleave can really ruin someone's day if it connects. Of course, there's the charged reflection skill as well, which empowers reflected bolts, but it's towards the end of the skill tree, so we'll leave that choice up to you. I'm sure you've noticed that there's plenty more skills to unlock, and a lot of them are really great, but these were our top picks for the things that you should focus on first in order to make the most of your early hours on Coruscant, Kobo, and beyond. For more on Jedi Survivor, check out our Essential Combat Tips video, or these 19 things that the game doesn't tell you. And for everything else gaming, keep it here on IGN.